Hi, ladies. It is week 8, day 2 in your packet. I hope that you had a great Memorial Day yesterday. It is May 26th, and our learning target today is I can locate points on a coordinate grid. So we are starting a new topic today, looking at graphs and coordinates and learning how to read a coordinate grid and graph points. So we are on pages 66 and 67 today in your packet. And let's take a look at number 1. So number 1 says, you are graphing point E at 0, 5. Do you move to the right 0 units or up 0 units? All right, so we've kind of talked about this a little bit before and what it looks like and how these coordinates are actually kind of tracked. So what's really important to know is we have an x-axis. So this bottom portion right here is what we call the x-axis. And this this vertical line right here is your y-axis. So the first number that you're looking at is going to represent the x-axis. So this 0 is going to represent the x, and the 5 is going to represent the y. So our rule that we've talked about is our x, we move over, and our y, we move up. And you've done some different like picture graphs and things like that in class before. So this is pretty much the exact same thing. We're just kind of talking a little bit more in depth about the graphing. So when you're graphing points E at 0, 5, do you move to the right 0 units or up 0 units? So this 0 represents the x, and we know with x we're going to move over to the right. So you're going to move, which let me make this a little bit smaller. Computer is very sad today. Okay. You move to the right 0 units. Okay, so I know that I said we're moving to the right, but if you look over here, 0 is right here. So you don't actually want to really move over anywhere. You're just going to make sure that you're lined up with this 0. All right, so you're going to move 0 units to the right. So the first number names the distance from the origin. So this little 0, 0 is your origin. Okay, so one of our vocabulary words is called origin, and that means that it's right here. It's just that 0x and 0y. So on this one, you move to the right 0 units. And this is going to be along the x-axis. All right, so number 2, it says, what ordered pair names the origin of any coordinate grid? All right, and we just kind of talked about this. So that's when you're going over 0 and up 0. It's right here on the corner where the x and the y-axis meet. So 0, 0 is going to be the origin. So that's the coordinate, the ordered pair for the origin on any coordinate grid, because you're going over 0 and up 0, and it's right here where the x and the y meet. So on number 3, it says describe how to graph point K at 5, 4. So remember that 5 is the first part of our ordered pair, which is our x-axis, and the 4 is our y. So for our x, we want to make sure that that is moving to the right. So you're going to be going over to the right. So if we're talking about that, that 5, we're going to move 5 units. And when we're talking about units, it's basically moving from one line to another. So 1 is 1 unit, 2 is 2 units, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to move 5 units to the right of the origin And then once we do that, we're going to move up. So, okay, so then, and then move up 4 units. Okay, so if I were to explain this, think about you're going to move along that bottom line along the x-axis. You're going to find the 5, and then we're going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I were to plot that point, it would be right here where it's over 5 on the x and up 4 on the y, and I would put a dot there and label it K. So looking at number 4, on numbers 4 and 5, we're going to be writing the ordered pair. So ordered pairs require, sorry, my big yawns, require us to have parentheses around the numbers and then a comma in between them. So you can kind of see these are examples of ordered pairs. So if we were to find B, we want to think about what our X would be and what our Y would be. So our X is going to be the number that it is hovering above on this x-axis. So if I'm finding B, so B is right here. So the number that's along the x-axis that it's right above is 3. And then the y-axis, the number that it's straight across from would be 2. So if I were to plot this point, I would go over 3 and up 2 and plot that point. So let's think about A. So same thing, it has an X and a Y, and they're in parentheses and separated by a comma. So the number that, oh, this is a really good one. So on A, we talked about how where the X and the Y axis meet is called the origin. So that's us going over 0 and up 0. So it's right here on that origin. So that would be our ordered pair, 0, 0. So now for numbers 6 and 7, we're going to find the letter that matches the ordered pair. So remember, 5 is going to be the X, 3 is going to be the Y. Okay, so 5, if I were to go over 5, remember, it's over, then up. So if I go over 5, and then I'm going to go up 3, so here's 5, 1, 2, 3. So D, it's hovering right above 5 on the x-axis and right across from 3 on the y-axis. So the point for 5, 3 is D. Looking at number 7, I have 1, 4. So that means that I'm going to go over 1 and up 4. So C is hovering above 1 on the x-axis, and it's straight across from 4 on the y-axis. So 1, 4 represents point C. All right, so for your independent practice today, for 8 through 13, you're going to be writing the ordered pairs, which means you should have a comma and parentheses. So you should have 2 numbers, a comma in between them, and then parentheses to go around them. And then down on 14 through 18, you're going to be doing what we did on 6 and 7, and actually finding the point that's represented. So if I were to go over 2, so remember it's over, then up. If I were to go over 2 and then up 2, you'll see that L is hovering over 2 on the x-axis, and it's straight across from 2 on the y-axis. So this point would be L. For T, this is where we're actually writing the ordered pair. So if I want to find T, so T is right here. You want to think, what number is it hovering above on the x-axis, which is right here, and that's going to be 0. And then you want to know what is it straight across from on the y-axis, which is going to be these numbers right here, and that number is 5. So then my ordered pair for T would be 0, 5. So I want you to do the leftover questions on that independent practice. On page 67, so this is your next page, it says describe to a friend how to find the name of the ordered pair. So this is just talking about, first you would go over to this many units, then you would go up the the y-axis to this many units. So you just want to explain basically how your findings are on a coordinate grid. On this one, it says complete the table. So basically, your point would be A, maybe you could do B. So you get to really, you honestly are picking whatever you want. So if you wanted to do just straight in order, A, B, C, D, E, you can, but you're basically just picking whichever ones you want. So basically A, you would say it's hovering above 3 on the x-axis and straight across from 5 on the y-axis. So your ordered pair would be 3, 5. But again, you can pick any 5 that you want out of A through J. 25, why is the order important when naming graphs on a coordinate point or on of the coordinates on a point? So basically, if I was looking at F and I said, oh, F's coordinates are 1, 3. Well, that means that it's hovering over 1 on the x-axis and up 3, and we know that's not true. So think about why it's important that we make sure that we're naming them correctly. On number 26, it says, how are the x-axis and the y-axis related on the coordinate grid? So when you're thinking about the x and y axis, they're actually perpendicular to each other. And perpendicular means that they meet at a 90-degree angle. So see right here how this makes a little square? They meet at that 90-degree angle. So the x-axis is perpendicular to the y-axis. So we can write the x-axis is perpendicular. I knew I was going to butcher that one. To the y-axis. And I did it again. All right, so number 27, which of the following points is located at 4, 2? See, it's super important that you read it correctly too. Which of the following points is located at 4, 2? So basically you're going to go along the x-axis 4 and up 2 and see if it's A, M, B, or P and mark the correct answer. So for your assessment piece today, you're going to be going to pearsonrealize.com and completing the 5-26-20 quick check. Please remember, you want to make sure you're doing the independent practice and problem solving before you go to Pearson Realize. This is your assessment piece. This is how you get your participation points for each day. So make sure that you're heading over there and you are working on that assignment.